Hi, hello. Welcome to the episode of Isaiah's Newsstand. It's your host, Isaiah Edwards. The date is December the 10th, 2024. Hopefully this episode finds you well, in good spirits and high hopes. As for me, I'm doing pretty good. I'm going to put a little caveat there, but we'll get to it. Today was solid. Pretty much just worked. It was busy. I had this moment with one of my supervisors towards the end of the day, and he comes up to me and he's like, Isaiah, I think it's just busier than I thought. It seems busier than I expected it was going to be this week. And I had to kind of fight the urge to eye roll him because, I feel like we talked about this last week, how, he was kind of telling me how he was predicting things to kind of fall off. And I was like, yeah, maybe it's possible. But in the back of my head, I'm like, it's totally possible that it's not going to do that. And we just kind of have to keep moving and we just keep it going. Maybe 1 or 2 more weeks and we'll be totally good. It's fine. We're almost there, though. It's okay. I think he just wanted it to be done after Thanksgiving so he could relax. And it's like, no, brother, this is every year we have to stay vigilant until pretty much 2 to 3 days before Christmas. It's just how this works. You know what I mean? So that was a fun conversation, but really overall it was fine. It was good. I think everything is going to work out fine. It's just busier than we like. And, we just got to keep working hard, keep pushing. Now, work was good. Work was fine. I know I keep saying that because I need to remind myself of that a bit as I'm saying it out loud, as I'm talking out loud. Because I had a moment of weakness, my dear listeners, and I'm going to explain it. So we go to the gym, and this is where it starts to kind of take a dive. It's Tuesday, and I had this issue Monday. I was literally talking to a coworker and a person I see at the gym. He was telling me yesterday, he's like, yeah, man, I'm about to leave. Like, I can't hit the shit I want to hit. Like, there's just too many people here. And I'm like, yeah, man, I know it sucks. And it's like one of my least favorite things about the gym is Monday and Tuesday because all these people are just here in droves on everything and they just don't leave. They just hawk on the machines. It's always a couple. It's always a group of dudes or something. And it's like, could y'all take the gaggle somewhere else? I'm always frustrated about this. I've mentioned this before, but it definitely, this was my worst workout today because of that. Like, I literally couldn't get on my pec delt machine, and I was salty about that. I couldn't get on a bench to do free weights. I was like, oh, so you guys are just cooking me. You're cooking me to my face. Like, I was so upset. I was so mad about it. And I know, like, kind of having some perspective looking at it now, it's like, Isaiah, you're fine. You had a really good workout. You hit your core cardio. That's important. You did some workaround stuff, like hit some other machines. Like, it's overall going to be fine. Overall, my weight is about where I want it, a little bit more, but that's on track for, how I go week to week. But it just queued me up in a really bad way, and I was really upset. And the thing that's also a bummer here, and I told my mom I was going to mention it. Hi, Mama Bear. I like not even halfway, like towards the end of my workout, I get a notification and essentially my Christmas present came, and my mom, my bio mom, she knows me so well. She knows that, hey, I'm down on my luck. I don't ask for much, but you know what I do need? Money. Money is always helpful. It's always nice. And that was the gift that she gave me and my siblings, and I'm very appreciative. So I know she's listening. Thank you, Mom. Love you. Merry Christmas. So yeah, I mean, that was also another highlight. You know what I mean? And I'm over here being huffy about a workout, and I'm literally getting money in my hand. Like, that's crazy. That's crazy. Who am I? I really have changed, and maybe it's not for the better anymore. I'm starting to wonder. But I think this is my temper being a thing. And I'm saying that because I'm about to get to my next thing, right? Because I've stacked this. I've internalized this issue, this problem. I'm now mad. I'm at home. I'm now doing my home workout. And as I go to do my home workout, I'm like, I have this thing usually, right? Especially if I'm like, I just want to see, I'm flicking through my phone real quick before I do some push-ups, right? And I go to pull up a video, like a little short video on YouTube, a little reel. Or do they call them shorts or whatever? Whatever. Who gives a shit? And the sound's not playing, and it's on Bluetooth, which means my wireless headset that I've been using that's been really funky and been messing up is not working. It's now undocked itself, even though it's in the charger, and it's not charging. That's what it means. And y'all, I know this is a moment of weakness, and I'm a 34-year-old man. I have no business having a tantrum like this. I'm Young Suk Yoling my shit right now in a really bad way. But I literally like just sprint to my room where the headset is. I take it and I just chuck it. I just chuck it. I just Kyle that bitch across the room. I was so livid, y'all. I was so mad. Because it's just been like, that problem has been an ongoing issue. And that's not to absolve my shitty behavior. It's just, it's been a thing that has been gnawing at me. I had a anger moment with it last week, I believe, because it just kept undocking itself and then not being charged. And then I go to pull it out and I have no power. And it's like, I've had workouts where that's happened, like a lot of times where it's like, it just starts fading out. And I'm like, I hate technology. I hate technology. I hate technology. I pay $80 for these fucking headphones. And maybe to some people that's not much. That's a pretty fucking penny for me. And I'm like, hey, this should last me for a while. That's what I think. That's what I hope. But no, they never do. And it doesn't matter whether I'm buying the wired headphones of old or the technology of today. They just don't make it well or well enough for my fucking heavy-handed ass. I don't know, man. So, needless to say, I put myself in a pickle on a Tuesday night because now I have no headphones. I've shattered them asunder. They're done. They're cooked. I got my dark wish, and now they will never need to be charged again. So I literally had to completely detour my night and then go to Best Buy and buy a new set of headphones. So that's how my day has been. And still I say it was a pretty good day. I just lost myself to my temper and a bad moment. And I hate that because, as you know, once again, a 34-year-old man, with a known temper problem, that's like a issue for me. I hate whenever I see that happening and I didn't, actually stop myself. You know what I mean? I think I have a hard enough problem with that when I'm actually interacting with people. But I also know that just because, you didn't have a flare up with a person, you just had a flare up with an inanimate object, that doesn't matter. That's okay. No. That does matter because inevitably that has a chance of spilling over, and it's showing that you're not controlling your temper. Plus, have you ever done that in front of people? Because I've done that, and I'm glad that no one saw me have this moment. I'm embarrassed to tell this to the people who listen, but like, it's one of those things where it's something that I'm always working on. Even if it doesn't maybe look like I'm working on it. I know that there's some of my friends and people around me, they're like, I've never seen you lash out. I've never seen you have a temper like that. And sometimes I think it's funny. And I get that because it's one of those things where it's just like you see another side of a person, where I'm frothing at the mouth, I'm going ballistic. But like, I don't like myself when I'm like that. You know what I mean? I don't feel good after moments like that. I've had really bad takeaways, really fucked up things, and I don't like going back to that space. And I as I get older, I want to do that less. Y'all feel me? So, that's me talking about my day. That's me trying to hold myself a bit accountable, and hopefully that I can do better and I don't break another pair of headphones because I need these bad boys. I need them. Also, it's funny. I literally got the same pair, just like the newer model. So, thank you, Mom. Merry Christmas. Got me some headphones. You got me some nice headphones. I'm hoping these hold up. I will say I had like a moment where I opened them up in the car because I'm like, I'm not trying to take another L tonight. And they literally wouldn't pair. And I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. This night is terrible. But then I was able to get it to work, just took a little bit more time out of my night. So it goes. But I gotta say, I'm happy to be here and tell y'all that story, even though it doesn't put me in a good light. I'm happy that I have the opportunity to do this. I can't stress that enough. I really am thankful. Really do love y'all for listening to me yap and yap and yap. Now I'm gonna, segue into the startup, into some news. I will say just a quick corrections corner about the United Healthcare shooter. I said his manifesto was 2 pages. I believe it was a 240-word, 3-page document. I don't have the information readily handy. I should, but I don't. You know me. But yeah, I mean, there was lots to talk about on that, and I know I had that brain fart. It still haunts me, but I feel like I overall covered the stuff that I wanted to cover about it, my thoughts and feelings. Obviously, there will be more. They did like officially charge him with stuff, but I mean, we knew that was gonna happen. He wasn't just a person of interest. But anyway, enough about that. That's yesterday's news. I mean, I guess technically today's news too. But you know. Let's go ahead and do our startup. Let's kick back a little bit and let's get involved. Let's get in there. Let's talk about some shit. Because is it good news? It's not good news. No. I mean, technically, we do have a dub for the people. I say it's for the people. Unless you're a Foxen friend, maybe not. It's not maybe not a dub, but I don't know. We'll get to that later though. From NBC News. Israel strikes and advances into Syrian territory after Assad's overthrow, fueling alarm. While Syria celebrates overthrowing its longtime dictator, it is also being subjected to a new ground incursion in waves of airstrikes from its neighbor Israel that drew growing international condemnation and concern Tuesday. Excuse me. Explosions rocked Damascus overnight. Smoke billowed from a research center north of the capital and destroyed naval ships. Sat in the western port of Latakia, all while Israeli ground forces moved into Syrian territory. It's also worth mentioning, too, that initially after the Assad overthrow, America also did some airstrikes on some ISIS targets. And I feel like that got less press just because I think they only did it in one incursion that I've heard of. And it seemed like after that, Israel just immediately took the whole mantle of doing the airstrikes and then doing a ground incursion. Essentially, they want to make this buffer zone. Granted, this has been a buffer zone that I think they've had since like 1973. It's very akin to the situation that they have with Lebanon. They want to make sure that that stays in place. Though I think that's crazy as a justification to be like, oh, we are literally going to do an invasion on you. Like that's what this is. And they're like, nah, no, but we're doing it for our own protection. And then we're also blowing up and hitting spots because... Actually, I'll just go ahead and read it here. Israel says its airstrikes and actions on the ground are aimed at preventing Assad's arsenal of rockets and chemical weapons from falling into the hands of extremists who could threaten its borders or people, which I think is loose. I'm sorry. Like, at the end of the day, which extremists do you mean? Like, you could say that the whole group of people, the rebels that overthrew Assad, are the extremists, and so you're trying to keep that from them. That's not your right to fucking do, dude. Am I crazy for saying that? I think if roles were ever reversed here, then we would be talking fucking atrocities here. You'd be like, you don't have the right to do that as a nation state, to go into this place and do that. And people are saying that. They're like these people are literally overthrowing a power that we all agree are pretty much fucked up. You know what I mean? These are bad motherfuckers that have left. And like, you can say, oh, okay, we're scared, we're worried about what the future holds with this new military group in power. But at the end of the day, this is all supposed to be good for the goose, good for the gander. And you're like, nah, we got to make sure we get ours. We got to make sure that we're safe and secure. So we're going to make these actions right now. We're not going to wait. We're not going to seek any counsel. We're just going to move. Shoot. So... I mean, and granted, once again, back to the buffer zone thing, I think I said this already, but it was like, 1973, where they had this already, so that's not a new thing, but I don't like the justification. It does make me feel uneasy. Just the level of damage that they instantly just came through and just started doing. It's like, you realize you could literally make shit worse. You could escalate this whole situation, not just for them, but yourselves. And it's like, just the lack of care there. It's just the reckless, wanton abandon of that, to be like, we don't care. And I've said this before. It's hard to feel like there's no ulterior motive to this other than it's just like, you want to do what you want to do, and you don't care how oppressive it is. If it quote unquote equals your protection, your defense, then it's allowed. It's warranted. And it doesn't matter. Now, I haven't heard of any loss of life or anything like that. That doesn't mean that it's obviously not happening. I don't know. I'm just saying I'm not here to actually report on that, or I shouldn't say report, but, to speak on that. But it makes me weary whenever I hear this kind of shit. It's scary. It's unsettling. All to quote unquote establish a sterile defense zone. So yeah, I mean, we'll see how things pan out from there. I'm sure this isn't the last that we've heard of Israel doing strikes on Syria. We've covered that before the overthrow of Assad, and I'm sure we're gonna hear that after. And speaking of that, since we're in the region talking about Syria, something else I hadn't really hit on is the prisons. A lot of fucked up shit went down in the Syrian prisons, and the rebels that are now in power, they are currently trying to go through these prisons, free the people, free like all these political prisoners and whatnot. And there's even talk of like these hidden secret cells that they're trying to find because it's believed that people are in them. It just languishing, potentially they're gonna die. You know what I mean? Like, that's crazy. And that's just a small facet of that shit, man. It's just a small little bit. The more I'm learning a lot now about the region finally, and like I'm thankful for that. But it's just crazy that like I get to get these insights and inroads, and like it becomes a lot more readily available to me to kind of learn on a quicker pace that I like. But it's so sad that it's through these like crazy just moments of atrocities and like just historic milestones out of nowhere, like just crazy tumultuous moments. And it's like, oh, this is where you get a chance to like just quickly download this shit Matrix style. So yeah, I mean, that's more or less where we're at there. But we're not leaving. We gotta focus up on Bibi. This is probably our least favorite prime minister. I think we can say that. I don't want to be an asshole, but like, fuck Bibi, bro. He's just such a piece of shit, dude. I feel like I can say that and get away with it. Like it. I don't even think people in Israel like fucking Bibi, bro. Like, I think they're not a fan of that motherfucker anyway. And I kind of like this story because it takes us back to like that pre-October 7th thing. I don't know why I'm saying like that, but like there was a lens where like I can take myself to this blissful ignorance where we could kind of focus up on just Bibi and not the nation state as a whole. And we could just say like, yeah, man, this corrupt motherfucker's so bad. Shouldn't this motherfucker just get out of here? Wouldn't everything just be better if he was gone? And it's like, I mean, I do agree that if he was not in power, things would be at least better. The vibes would be better. But I think definitely for me, going past the time that was the 7th of last year, it really opened me up to what the scene is, how it has been, you know what I mean? And you realize that Netanyahu is not the only issue here. You know, it's the whole fucking kit and caboodle that kind of makes this shit rock in a bad way. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, I know I'm just kind of doing a lot of conjecture, whatever the fuck, but let's go ahead and get into this. From CNN. Netanyahu assails media as he testifies for the first time in his corruption trial. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, and I will probably call him Bibi from time to time, took the witness stand for the first time on Tuesday in his long-running corruption trial, saying he was being hounded for his hawkish security policies. Yeah, dude, they hate you because you're such a fucking war hawk, bro. That's why this is why it's happening. It's the fucking Israeli leftists that are trying to put the kibosh on you, bro. It's like, you're actually the purest of heart. You're such a fucking lion, bro. They just don't want to hear you roar, bro. Anyway, Netanyahu, 75, is Israel's first sitting prime minister to be charged with a crime. They're like, bro, you're so bad, we actually have to air this shit out, bro. It's crazy what you're doing. I lost my place. He is testifying at the same time Israel is engaged in a war in Gaza and facing possible new threats posed by regional turmoil, including in Syria. I love how we're just future casting this. Like, yeah, it's just like we have to be prepared for this. We have to actually go in and get involved. So, anyway, we also need to, get you for corruption too. What a crazy day. What a crazy time. I've been waiting 8 years for this moment, to tell the truth. Netanyahu told the three-judge court. But I am also a prime minister. I am leading the country through a 7-front war, and I think the two can be done in parallel. I love the latter of that quote because there's now a Venn diagram where you have Eric Adams, New York mayor, and you have Benjamin Netanyahu, two motherfuckers who are corrupt to the goddamn gills. Two motherfuckers who have, like, sold themselves out so hard that they switch parties to get power. And they're like, you know what? I know I'm like balls deep in bribery here, but I can run my fucking shit and go to trial. I can do that. I can walk and chew gum. Keep up with me, baby. And like, I'll give Bibi credit for that. He can do it. And I literally heard, I was listening to the BBC, and they're like, they're running the trial, but I believe there was at least a couple times, and I think they're gonna do 3 times a week. Like the trial throughout, like that's how it's the format of it all or whatever. And but throughout he's getting like little letters or memos about the what's going on in the Syrian front. Also, speaking of fronts, crazy because I didn't do the math. I didn't count on my little fingies or whatever. 7 fronts. 7 motherfucking fronts. Hitler could even handle 2. I just wanted to say that. I just wanted to throw that out there. He couldn't even handle a 2-front war. That shit folded his ass. It's crazy that America can prop up a fucking nation state that they can handle 7 fucking fronts. You ever think about that? Because I think about that a decent amount. Like, that's crazy. It's crazy how strong the hegemon is, isn't it? It's just, you can back the play and just do the shit. Like I said, America hit Syria because they're like, we gotta make sure we hit ISIS, keep them down. Boom, 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 boom. But they only need to do that a little bit. And guess who took that shit to the hilt? Maximum. Israel. For their own fucking benefit. They just wanted to do it for their own fucking sake. You don't have to do shit. And not to mention, we're giving them the ammunition to do that. I think we get a kickback somehow for that shit too, probably, right? Oh, God, I love a war economy, baby. I love that shit. It's crazy. It's so crazy how the shit works. I actually don't love the shit. Let me be fucking serious. It makes me so goddamn sad and mad at the same time. But once again, let's get back to the corruption at hand. Prosecutors accuse Netanyahu of granting regulatory favors worth around 1.8 billion shekels, or about $500 million, to Bezik Telecom Israel in return for positive coverage of himself and his wife Sarah on a news website controlled by the company's former chairman. He is also accused of negotiating a deal with the owner of Israel's Yedioth Ahronoth newspaper for better coverage in return for legislation to slow the growth of a rival paper. Now, of course, Netanyahu denies the allegations and has pleaded not guilty. He stood rather than sat in the witness box throughout his morning testimony. What a flex. Cool, man. Just a little bit of added things that I like adding for fun. Netanyahu and his wife were being courted by, like, just all kinds of, like, celebrities. I think especially two from the States. They would kind of, like, wrap it up with them and talk, like, directors and whatnot. And essentially they were trying to curry favor, right? And it worked in both kind of ways. You scratch my back, we scratch yours, we help you out. We get you really like a cush situation in Israel. You can come through, have a real good time type shit. You will be a stated, like, favored guy. You're doing the good work for Israel, all that shit. But they would want, like, weird shit. And I say weird shit, but it's weird shit to me to want, like, jewelry when you're already, like, established financially and you're good and you're not, like, it just seems strange. Like, you don't need the shit. You could buy the shit on your own dime. Like, you don't need... And then also they wanted this pink champagne. And I don't know why Sarah wanted that shit so bad, but, like, that shit just made her tingle. And she loved it. And she's like, bro, where that though? You're on my phone talking to me about all this bullshit. I ain't really hearing shit. I ain't hearing the fizz. I ain't seeing no bubbles, baby. What's up? Why don't we talk when you get when I get a little crate of that good. And I'm like, yeah, guys, you guys were fucking so stupid and so out and out with this shit. And people dislike you that much that they're like, yeah, we need to put you in jail. I think he can potentially for this shit get 10 years, up to 10 years. But this is where we get back to everything post October 7th, right? I don't think that he even gets any time, even if they convict him of the shit. You know what I mean? Or they say, you know what, we got to give you a pass. We're in war, and you're our guy. Like, I don't know, man. So my thoughts and feelings like this on this are like ripped out of where they are, and they're put into the now. And I just go, yeah, I guess. Like, I would love for this guy to get convicted for this shit, but he's not going to get convicted for the fucking war crimes that the ICC want him for. So, like, you know, it doesn't matter, I guess. And that's how I feel. That's how I feel about it. But, you know, at the same time, I'm happy to talk about fucking Sarah and her bubbly. You know what I mean? I guess we all want that. We all want a little fizz in our life. You know what I mean? Anyway, let's move on. Let's talk from one loser to another. Actually, let me take a water break. Oh, yeah. Okay. Big gulps. From the BBC. Murdoch loses bid to change trust in real-life succession battle. Did y'all watch Succession? I watched like an episode of it, and I will say it's an impressive show. I think it's solid. I love the characters. What is it? The Culkin, the Macaulay Culkin's brother. I forget his name. It's escaping me right now. But he is amazing in that show. He's so funny. And generally all the characters are great. The fucking dad, who's essentially supposed to be Rupert Murdoch. The fuck off guy. I love it. It's a vibe. But also it's like, it's just a lot of intense conversations and talking and like cool and all. But like, it's literally just about, you know, the Murdoch family. That's essentially what it was. If you didn't know or whatever, or don't care, you know, it's an interesting story, but it didn't compel me to finish it out. You know what I mean? I didn't even want to like figure out how it ended. Really, it kind of went in one ear and out the other. The parts I heard about, but you know, we talked about how, at least a little bit, that Murdoch was fixing to make sure that the empire that he has set up, especially through Fox News, especially his conservative, you know, bastion, he wanted to make sure that shit is 100, and he wanted to make sure that his favorite son, Lachlan Murdoch, was going to have more control, final say over pretty much everything, but obviously especially that. And this whole struggle in Nevada has now taken place because of it. So wanted to kind of read up and do a little bit of an update there, because this is interesting to me. Excuse me. A real-life succession battle for Rupert Murdoch's media empire has ended with a Nevada court commissioner denying the billionaire's bid to change a family trust and give control to his eldest son. The case pitted the 93-year-old against three of his children, who would gain power to control News Corp and Fox News when he dies. Now, he has other children through other marriages, but this was set up so that these four children who would inherit his empire, like, it was all supposed to be pretty much equal and good to go. But essentially, there's been a bit of change in some of the family members. You know, I think James is highlighted a lot. Though I want to add that they make it sound like, oh, they're making like almost like a liberal pivot or something like that, but that's not the case. Like, they are a little bit closer to moderate as opposed to Lachlan and Rupert. Like, Rupert and Lachlan both kind of stay at the tip of the spear, and they're willing to sell their souls out. And, like, you know, I think that there's a big pivoting point to, I think, what was it, 2020, when Trump loses the election. And Fox News is the first, like, conservative place to call Trump losing, I think it was Arizona or something like that. And that was, like, such a big deal. And that was, like, a big vibe shift in that moment. And, like, from there, Newsmax, and I think, like, another, like, super alt-right conservative outlet was, like, making gains, making moves, and Fox News is like failing. All the while, people like James are like, this is not the way we should be doing things. Like we're getting out of pocket. We shouldn't even be thinking about pandering to someone like a Donald Trump or things of that nature. But that being said, okay, cool, well and good. I'm glad you have some sense and logic. But at the end of the day, I don't think any of these family members are actually going to try to tank the empire here. They're just maybe not going to go as balls to the wall for whatever the fuck like a populist guy is going to say. They're going to try to stay to their conservative, true narrative, true roads, whatever the fuck. You know what I mean? But like whatever, like either way, that doesn't really align with how I think the world should be or go. I still think they're all Murdochs, and I'm sure they're not going to do anything in my fucking interests or your fucking interests as an actual normal human being, you know what I mean, who's living paycheck to paycheck, day to day, trying to avoid a fucking calamity. So, it is what it is. I'm happy to see, Rupert Murdoch take a fucking L. That being said, I mean, this could get appealed. I think a district judge could rule in or something to that effect. It really is small potatoes. I think the thing that I learned that I didn't fully comprehend, that this whole thing actually is like, I can't think of the word, it's escaping me, but like, because the Murdochs, like as a family, watched the show, they got the idea of like, well, what are we gonna do? Like what are we doing when dad dies? And we have problems with him. Like things have like come up, and we've had these conversations, and they haven't been good. You know what I mean? They didn't even go to his last fucking wedding, which is like, dude, it's crazy how many times this guy's been married, how old this guy is, and he's still finding love. And I'm fucking single as fuck. But hey, it is what it is, man. So they're like, we don't like this guy. We don't like where this shit's going. What happens if he tries to ice us out secession style? And I think that's funny. That's a funny takeaway, because if they just all chilled on this shit, none of this would have mattered. But also, if Rupert just chills on this shit, he wouldn't have had to go through this fucking hassle and embarrass himself on a fucking national, international scale. But once again, I don't like Rupert Murdoch. He would definitely go to my tomato town. That's right. He would definitely get a suite. So yeah, boo this man, boo the whole family. I'm sorry, I'm not a fan of the Murdochs. Hot take, call me crazy. Yeah, no, boo. So yeah, I mean, it is what it is. I'm happy to see Lachlan taking L capital, and I hope that they don't get what they want here. I hope that it just has to stay the same. Like it's not even gonna hurt them. I just hope that they just have to live with the fucking shit that they set up. I will say though, I'll give Murdoch credit that he set this up in Nevada knowing that this was the best place to set it up, so that he would have this kind of wiggle room. Like, you're supposed to be able to set this up and walk away. Like, that's the whole point of this shit. You're not supposed to be able to make changes. But he's the one who put it into play, and he's like, hey, I have this loophole because I think that they're going to make decisions that are going to railroad this company. And they're like, and the commissioner's like, what you're saying is just, you and Lachlan, you're making this action in bad faith. There's no reason to suggest that they're going to actually fuck this all up. You're being weird, fam. So there you go. We covered that. One last thing I wanted to cover, and it's an update. We gotta take it back to the stove. We gotta go to Kroger and Albertsons, depending. Though, I don't know. I've never seen an Albertsons. I don't know them. I'm not acquainted. I'm an Ohio Buckeye boy. What can I say? Anyway, let's take our last break and we'll close it out. Yummy. From CNN. Ooh. Federal judge blocks largest supermarket merger in history. A federal judge in Oregon blocked Kroger's proposed $25 billion tie-up with Albertsons. Sorry, I got it wrong earlier. Ruling that the largest merger in the U.S. supermarket history would limit competition and harm consumers. The ruling is a major setback for chains and puts the merger's likelihood in jeopardy. Neither company immediately commented following the ruling. Damn, dude, it's a bad time for fucking mergers. But I want to say, though, shout out to the FTC. I've talked about Lena Khan before. She's the chairman. Probably not going to be the chairman come next year with Trump coming into power. I think, honestly, I was thinking about this before I went on. Lena Khan's wins and even attempts to like right the record, fight for the people, say, hey, this shouldn't happen. This merger shouldn't happen. Like, I think are probably the biggest dubs out of the Biden administration. And I have to give him credit for that because his administration said, hey, we like the cut of your jib. We like what you're saying, the papers you're writing. We think you'd be right for this role. And I think they were very, very fucking correct. And I think it's going to be a shame to see her go and to see the FTC change along with, just everything in general, of course. But just giving credit where it's due there before, I breeze through this and close it out. Overall, I kind of thought the merger was going to go through, just like I thought the Jet Spirit thing was kind of going to go through, and then it fucking didn't. It seemed to be brass tacks. I get what we're saying on the numbers. We live in a capitalist society, but both did get, rerouted, so to speak, kiboshed. But let me go ahead and read a little bit. Kroger's and Albertsons employ mostly unionized workforces and said they wanted to merge to be more competitive against non-union giants such as Walmart, Amazon, and Costco. The grocers also faced increased pressure from Aldi. I don't know why I want to say Aldi sometimes. Aldi, the fastest growing German discount supermarket chain. The merger would accelerate our position as a more compelling alternative to larger and non-union competitors. Kroger CEO Rodney McMullen said when the deal was announced in 2022, Kroger committed to lowering grocery prices by $1 billion following the merger. Also, that's crazy because I guess that would have been around when we covered it, which makes, once again, I've said this before, I'm so bad with time. It's so mushy to me. In her ruling, she said the supermarkets are distinct from other grocery retailers and are not direct competitors to Walmart, Amazon, and other companies that sell a wider range of goods. I do partially disagree with that. I agree with the Amazon part. I disagree with Walmart and Costco. You could say that maybe it's just too hard to compete with them and that's not really your competition. I can maybe agree with that. But I still think, and maybe this is just me being a millennial and not fully accepting the times or whatever, but Kroger to me and Walmart to me are very similar. I'm going to make an active choice to go to one or the other. I personally actually go to Kroger over Walmart because it's smaller and I kind of like that, but it's big enough that I have a variety. I'm not going to go to a bigger supermarket sometimes because it just feels overwhelming and I don't sometimes like my options. Kroger kind of makes this medium middle ground. And I could go to Aldi's, but I don't like Aldi's a lot because sometimes it can be hit and miss. I don't feel like they have as much variety. They're a very smaller store, but they have good quality and it's good pricing. I do agree with, though, that this merger was going to cut competition specifically between Kroger and Albertsons. I agree that that's something that is something for the customer, and if you take that away, Kroger will then up the price. You know what I'm saying? This is a random fucking aside as I kind of drag us out to the ending here. This is something I noticed and I mentioned to my friends, I want to say maybe a week or two ago, or maybe it might have been a little longer, whatever. We've talked about Redbox going, right? Something I noticed maybe end of last year, and then I started saying out loud or whatever, because it was oh man, this is actually kind of annoying, right? You can't rent movies anymore. Or maybe you can, and I'm just not finding them as easily. But you can. Let me actually rephrase that. You can rent a movie, but it went from a reasonable price of hey, this movie's $5, $6 to rent. You get it for 24 hours, but that's a digital rental, right? That kind of was the way the pricing was when there was at least Redbox around, right? After Redbox did the fucking kibosh on the bankruptcy shit, that shit went to $12, $16 or whatever. The price went way up, and I'm So, like, what? Do I have to literally, like, go see the movie or then buy the movie? Because there's no point then. Like, you could literally buy the DVD for, like, I guess maybe the Blu-ray, like, for fucking $20. Like, maybe 30? I don't know. But, like, that's insane pricing now. And that's the kind of shit that we're referencing here, just to bring it back to Kroger and Albertsons. When you cut out the competition, sometimes even if it's just a little bit on the surface, you immediately allow the whale to feed. You immediately get to feed the beast, and it's like, no, give me all your money now. Where are you going to go? Who are you going to go to? No, you're going to do it this way or that way, baby, so give me the money. And it's like, damn, you got me. You fucking got me, dude. And I hate that shit. And I appreciate the FTC, Lena Khan, actually being out there and fucking fighting for us. So I'm kind of using this as like a little bit of an homage to her, to the FTC as it has been. Chef's kiss, I guess. You did your best. You fought the good fights, and I appreciate that shit. You know what I mean? Whether I agreed fully or disagreed, you know what I mean? Like, hey, sometimes I'm a fucking head ass. I can definitely admit that for fucking sure. Sometimes I'm not seeing the big picture. You know what I mean? But I appreciate someone who's really putting in the thought, really trying to get and think like ahead of these companies, like on pace these companies, and trying to stop them from doing that shit. Because you know that's just not going to be the same come 2025. So it just is what it is, and give kudos, give credit where it's due. You know what I mean? I think that's important. You know what I mean? You feeling me? Anyway, that's it. That's all I got. If you'd like to help out, support the effort, I do have a Patreon. Patreon.com/IsaiahNews. Become a newsie today. Free ways to hit me up, IsaiahNews1@gmail.com. Feel free to follow me or the podcast on any of the socials. At least the cool ones. I don't know. Find me there. Find the podcast there. Say hello. We can talk about some news. Free ways to help out and also, you know, stay connected, you know, get on the feed, if you will. Subscribe to the YouTube. Hit the follow on Spotify, depending on whatever you're listening on. I'm on Amazon Prime. I don't know. You can find me anywhere. I'm on TikTok, baby. While they got it, while the lights are on, I'm there posting. But yeah, I'm, you know, at least back to the YouTube. Leave a nice comment or leave it on the TikTok. I appreciate that. I hit the hearts on that. I'm doing better a little. I'm trying. Talking about fried Oreos. Anyway, let's see here. Yeah, leave a cool comment. Sharing is caring. It can be fun. Try it out. Maybe not. Or you can tell a friend. If you ever want to, you know, put me on to somebody, a local, try it, I guess. That'd be weird, though. I feel like I'm an acquired taste. I feel like I'm for the homies. You know what I mean? And I'm okay with that. I'm all right with that. I'm okay with being small beans, small batch. You know, I'm a craft. I'm like an IPA. Anyway, thanks so much for tuning in. Thanks so much for being a friend. And hopefully I see you soon for some more good news. I love ya. Bye-bye. Mwah.